What is up? Welcome back to this quick series that I'm doing on conversion rate optimization, the thing that sounds super boring and ridiculous, but it is actually a lot of fun and it's super easy and fun. Now, why do we say that you don't have a traffic problem on your website, you have a conversion problem? Really simple, because if you're getting 100 or 1,000 visitors every day to your website, but you're only getting one or two of those people to actually reach out via phone or email or lead form, you have a conversion problem. And what's going to be more valuable? Paying somebody to increase your traffic by 50% or doubling, tripling, or quadrupling the number of people who reach out. It's night and day. There's zero contest whatsoever. So today we're going to talk about another quick and easy way to boost the conversion rate on your website. Stick with me. All right, so in the previous episode, what we talked about as a tactic for conversion rate optimization was that pop-up form thing. And if you didn't watch that one, it's right up here. So what we're going to talk about today is the concept of chat, something that's been around for decades actually, but it was really crappy before, and now it's actually really good. So we're going to talk about some really easy ways to do this. And again, we're talking about like 15 minutes to have a chat widget on your website. And this could be in one of two flavors. Number one, it could be live chat, which we're more familiar with. Number two, it could be a chat bot. And I think a lot of people are very intimidated by the chatbot piece, but it's actually really easy. So I'm going to give you something very high level today, just so you can see how quickly and easily you could implement this. But of course, as always, I don't want this to turn into a huge product demo because those are very boring. So let's just take a very quick dive into our Hubspot interface. Keep it in mind again that I'm showing you Hubspot because it's what we use internally. We do like this platform a lot. And one of the main things that we like about it compared to the competitors for what we're focusing on today is that it's kind of an all-in-one system. We have one interface where we're not just able to do those pop-up forms we talked about in the last episode. We can also do the chat stuff that we're talking about today. And we can also do the things that we're talking about in the upcoming episodes here that are focused on conversion rate optimization. So it's really great for us to be able to get in and do almost everything related to our marketing function, our website function through a single interface. If this looks valuable to you, of course, we can get you guys hooked up with a free instance of this system. And just go to distillagency.com/HubSpot and then fill that out. And we'll do a couple of things that you won't get by reaching directly out to HubSpot. Number one, we're going to get on the phone or on a Zoom meeting with you for 45 minutes and help you do the initial setup because it can be a very complex system to get configured. So we're going to help with that, get you off and running, answer any questions that you have. And then we'll maintain your name here so that if in the future you ever decide to do paid enhancements or upgrades with HubSpot, we'll get you better pricing than what you'll ever get through their website. We know this because we've done it for a lot of clients over the years, including ourselves. So go to distillagency.com/HubSpot. All right, so jumping into our HubSpot interface here, we would go under conversations and then we're going to go to chat flows. Couple of notes. Right now, what I'm looking at is our two types of chat available to us, and I can create more of these, by the way. But the other thing we can do is go over to the Facebook Messenger side and set up a Facebook Messenger chat, which is handy if you're already doing a lot with Facebook Messenger for your business. So if I can go to your Facebook page and right there comes up the Messenger widget and I can type in my questions and you're using that a lot, then it's almost certainly going to be more efficient for you to continue using that even on your website, as opposed to introducing another chat vehicle into the mix. Now we're going to focus on the integrated HubSpot chat today. And I'll very quickly give you an overview of these two different kinds. Let's do the bot first, okay? So we'll just take the one that I've already set up here and take a look. So with a bot, what's gonna happen is you're going to get the pop-up on the website for the chat, and it's gonna ask a question like, got any questions? Happy to help. And if people answer something, then we're gonna say, what would you like to do? Learn about products, learn about pricing, or something else. And they can click on one of those, and then our bot can say, no problem. Before we get started, I need to collect some basic info. How many employees work at your company? Now, you don't have to use these questions. You get to build your own. This is just an example, right? So we can start to qualify or collect information on these people to make sure then, once we get the notification of this chat, that it's somebody we think we should be talking to. Okay, great. A member of our team can get back to you. Before we do that, I'll just need two more things. What's your name? What's your email? And once we get the information that we want and lead people through a certain workflow here, then we can send this information to a team member so that they can follow up. Nice and handy. Yes, it's in some ways exactly like putting a lead form on your website somewhere, but because this one pops up, it's very conspicuous and they can be more user-friendly or customer-friendly, they get a much higher conversion rate than just trying to send somebody off to a page with a lead form. They're also much more dynamic. So based on what people say, we can lead them down completely different paths. And that makes it a whole lot of fun to put together as well as to interact with if you're a visitor on the website. So then we have a bunch of other things that are available to us so that we can configure this chatbot. I won't go through those on this one. I'll go through it on another one. So let's jump back over here. This time I'm going to click on our generic live chat. But before I do that, let me show you that once you set it up, and it can take you maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, then I'm just going to come over here and turn it on. I'm going to activate it. And then I'm going to go back to our website and I'm just going to refresh. All right, boom. And what do we see? We've got our chat widget popping up right over here. Questions, happy to help. Very nice. So then we can interact with it. So how do we make that happen? How do we configure it so that it works that way? We just come right in here, click on edit, and I'll walk you through the more important fields that are on here. So first is that welcome message, and I like to keep it short and sweet. Questions, happy to help. Really cool knowledge-based search feature here. That's actually for paid knowledge-based customers on HubSpot, so we don't even use it. You can have a really good user experience there if you have good documentation for a knowledge base. Okay, so we can also ask people for an email address, and this is one of the main innovations that we've seen with chats since the original chats way back in 15 years ago, the live chats where it was always like that little thumbnail of the woman who's wearing a little boom microphone. You could tell she was like an operator, and you also knew it was complete bullshit, and that's not who we were talking to at all. So this is a completely different direction where we can actually have better interactions and let people know that it's kind of this pervasive experience where if someone's available to answer their question in the chat right away, then they'll get an answer right away. But if they're not, then you just put in your email address and we'll respond based on that. But you can then get the response either from this pop-up window by returning to the website or in your email inbox. So that pervasive experience is just, it was a game changer. So what we could do is say, ask for an email address right after the first message is sent, or if no team member responds for a certain period of time, or don't ask at all. I like to shoot it back as soon as they ask the question so that we don't make them sit there for a minute and wait. And what we'll say is, don't have time to wait for an answer, leave your email, we'll reply ASAP, right? All right, let's jump over to target. And this is where we can say which pages of the website we want it to appear on. In our case, and in most cases, it's going to be all pages, so we just leave it at that. But we could also say, for pages that contain a certain string of text or begin with a certain thing or do a wildcard matches. So you can configure that one. We can also filter these based on user or visitor information. So things like device type. If they're on a mobile device, give them this chat. And if they're on desktop, we could use another one. We could do browser language, the country they're in, how many days since their last visit, the number of times they've been to our website, what pages they visited, and which page or website they came from. So that's really good to be able to customize messages based on what you already know about the visitor. If we go over to display, this is where we can say, all right, for our chat heading right up here, we can specify what we want to have. So we could do a custom name and avatar, and that's particularly great if you're doing a chatbot. You don't want to try to give people the impression that a chatbot's an actual person because it's always going to disappoint them. So instead, maybe you do something like Hubbot or Distillbot, and maybe you have a little icon. Maybe it looks like a robot, a little illustration, whatever the case is. You could also do contact owner. So if we already know the person who's on the website, it can be their representative, their account manager, their sales rep. In this case, we're just going to, I throw in specific people and then just add a few people to the mix. Basically, anybody on our team who would be responding to these types of inquiries. Down below, we can actually specify the action. So do we want this to only show the chat launcher, as you can see in the preview? Do we want it to open the full chat widget? Too conspicuous. Or do we want to meet somewhere in the middle, have a little message pop up so that there's a good prompt, a good call to action for them? And that's one we typically go with. And then if you caught my last episode about those pop-up forms, remember that we have the ability to set triggers. So we could say when we want this thing to actually appear. We could say on exit intent, so anytime we believe they're going to be leaving our website, and that's just based on mouse cursor movements. Or in this case, we could say, essentially show it on every page right away. And we could also say if they scroll down the page a certain percentage. So then it's like interest based where we know, oh, okay, maybe I'm reading a blog article or whatever the case is. And then just note, by the way, we've got their little settings link down here. So yes, you can change the look, the colors, and some other settings for that particular chat widget that appears on your website so that it matches your website and branding. All right, last tab. This one, we can set a language for each one of these. Most of it's going to be English. And then we have the ability to turn on these GDPR consent notifications so that if you're doing business like in European Union especially, you can turn those on. We don't do it as a general rule on the Distill side, but we do have sub-business units where we use those things sometimes. All right, so once we're done, again, the only thing we really need to do is maybe preview it and then activate it, and then we can take it live on our website. It's simple as that. And what at the end of the day does this really mean for us? Because again, we've got a contact us page. Maybe we have lead forms. Maybe our phone number's at the top of the page. This is something that's just more conspicuous, where if I'm just reading around to get that visual animated prompt pop up and have it be customized and user-friendly, makes a big difference. So again, maybe you are only getting 1 or 2 people on this page or on your site to give you their information before. This kind of salesmanship, so to speak, can make a really big difference. So now maybe you're going to get 5 or even up to 10. And that is far more valuable than paying to get additional traffic to your website. But more importantly, once you've optimized your site with some of these tactics, you then can invest in that additional traffic, and you know that you're going to convert enough of it to make it worth the money. So if you want to try this out again, please, distillagency.com/HubSpot, and we'll give you all that really cool free consulting and everything. And if you want to see the rest of these videos that are going to be in this series, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's down below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Thanks for stopping by.